First question is, what's the difference between an MSP and an MSSP?
I think it's really in however you want to decide that that's going to be. So, we identified mostly as a security boutique and an MSSP. So we didn't do Office 365. We didn't do, managed patch management, any of those traditional types of MSP things. We really focused on firewall management, SASE, CISSP services, and the like. So that's how we defined it. I'd be encouraged to, how others, define it in their practice.
Yeah, we started out as MSP, obviously, and moved into the MSSP. And, we still have our managed services packages, but we also have the cybersecurity stack as well, where we're just focusing on selling the cybersecurity piece of it.
Okay.
Same here at Thrive. We started out as an MSP, but we were reselling other, security providers, their SIM, their EDR, their SOC, their solutions in the mid 2015, 2016 range. Realized we could probably do a better job. We started organically building it from late 2017, and really we're up to almost 100 professionals globally right now in that practice today.
But Rob, let me ask you guys before we continue, what's the difference though?
About 20% of EBITDA margin.
Okay.
That's a great answer right there.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. And your labor to revenue, you need about 8 to 10% of your revenue in a cybersecurity practice, and you need about 30 to 35% in a help desk managed service practice. So from an employee headcount in a challenging labor market, it's a lot easier to grow your business and your revenue through security without finding as many personnel, which are hard to find today.
Absolutely. We did the same thing, MSP, and then we added on a security stack, doing that side of it, and then we added our compliance on top of it as a separate piece. As far as how I always had defined and what originally with MSP and MSSP, it used to be defined whether you had an internal SOC or whether you had an outsourced SOC. And that's kind of blurred over time, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sarah Brent is really an MSSP. We have a little bit of MSP, but the difference really is in the services that you offer. I also don't believe in the SMB market where most of us play, there really is a difference anymore. Several years ago as MSPs, way back when it was an antivirus and a firewall, right? That was security. Now, as we start to add the different components enhanced by the vendors, EDR, MDR, vulnerability management, we start getting into SIM, SOC, stuff like that. Now, MSPs really have blurred. But for my enterprise clients, we are very much a security play. So heavy pen test, digital forensics, expert testimony in court. When you start getting into some of the really, really complex compliance frameworks like FedRAMP, StateRAMP, those are just things that MSPs are just not going to play in very often.
Okay. So one of what kind of kicked off a contentious debate, let's say, in one of the mastermind groups that we were running, accountability groups we were running, and Paul Sissel was on there, and Paul's feeling is that you cannot be both an MSP and an MSSP successfully. His words, he said there's about a 30% chance you'll be able to make it successfully. So do you guys agree or disagree? And any one of you can take that one.
I'll start with that one because Paul, you guys have listened to Paul talk several times, and he has one of his big things is his service factory, right? You guys have heard him talk about the service factory. He sees those two service factories as completely different, and in a lot of ways, he's right. Mm-hmm. But like I said, as you go up in sophistication of client and you go to different different markets, then that changes. So I don't agree with him that you can't be both. I do agree with him that you have to have two different service factories.
I'm the same way on that, but I believe in going to what Paul says is there are two different revenue streams, and that's how we treat it. So we treat it security department, managed services department. And so they're two revenue streams, but they feed off each other. And that's what's really successful for us is because one needs to have the other and vice versa. So if you do them all with the same stack, that's where I believe he talks about people get in trouble because then things don't happen like they need to be and there's not checks and balances.
I probably agree with Paul about 95% of the time. Smart guy, knows this industry inside and out. This would be the one time that I'd probably differ with him on. You can't be in an IT services business today and have a really big not have a big cybersecurity focus. So whether it's reselling other tools, whether it's just eyes on glass, The big benefit that we've gotten from developing our own SOC and our own security practice outside of the margin things that I talked about earlier is that it actually reduces the number of tickets and the load on your desk. If your clients are absorbing and taking your cybersecurity subscription services and they have your SOC and they have a business analyst and they have either a vCISO or someone helping them run a program, they don't have as many problems. They don't have disasters. You don't have 10 of your best engineers working all weekend to restore their environment. So it takes the load off your MSP practice and it makes them safer, and it also provides a lot of holistic cross-sell within the account.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. I love Paul.
100%.
Yeah, I love Paul. I think it's hard to be a co-manage and an MSP. I think it's harder. You sort of pick your lane on that. But I think offering the cybersecurity stack and being an MSSP is a need where I think all MSPs eventually need to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So the one qualifier I'd probably put on it is size, right? So if you're a small MSP, it's going to be very challenging to become a significant MSSP because of size. Two different kinds of personnel, different types of legal structures. So I would really think that when you're in the small stage, you really have to partner with another traditional MSSP in order to get the personnel and the coverage that you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think that was the question I'd like to get to too, because a lot of these guys are like, they're at $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. And at what point would you think that it makes sense to kind of make that leap? Like I would say if someone's really small and they're under $1 million, probably maybe not like, hey, just focus on your MSP business, I guess. I don't know. Can you add to that at all? And
I'll start on that one. So if you're a $1 million business, as Rob said, there's no chance that you're just going to go sell security services to an SMB. It just doesn't make sense, right? They're going to want both sides. Now, when you get to a certain size, okay, and to Will's point on co-managed, I see co-managed and MSSP similar. So let me give you an example. I've got a client, 6,000 users. We take security. We take level 3 support. They take level 2, level 1. We have the network, right? And we also, they take patching. So essentially, that's a co-managed client, but all the functions we're really doing for them is mostly cyber. So, in that situation.
We've done the exact same things on our co-managed, but I was about 2.3 million in straight MSP and VAR at that time when I started the cybersecurity, and then I quickly grew to over 4 million because I added that cybersecurity. Yes, margins are awesome. Right. So it's one of the things, you got to have a basis of what you're doing and have a model, then being able to put those on. Now, unless you're like some that start off right off the bat, you come from that background and start at MSSP right from scratch, and that's your business model. Yeah, you can do it when you're small if you've got the relationships and know what to go off and do there. But typically, I've seen most people, when they've added this on and were successful with it, they're usually in that 1.5 to 2 million range as an MSP, and then they start adding that on and treat it as a separate revenue stream, and it works for them.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's no different than cloud probably 10, 15 years ago. Whenever you built a private cloud or added public cloud, Azure, AWS, it's another product line, but you're in IT services, right? It's just another product line. Yes, when you're a smaller business, you got to start off reselling. One of the investments I would encourage everybody to make is to go out and hire a vCISO and then offer fractional vCISO services to your clients. They go out and build programs. We do it as a 1-year contract. We don't, kind of give them a project and let them use them and kind of back away. We build a continuous product. They got to take 12 months, but they go out and take a fractional vCISO because no one can afford them. They build a program for them, and over time, the program usually involves them taking software services from all of you. So you got to partner with the best software providers, the best SOCs, whoever can do it. Over time, you grow your revenue, you grow your expertise. You can begin replacing vendor by vendor and doing it internally based on the needs of your organization, your expertise, and what your clients and where the market is emerging. That's sort of how we did it. So.
Yeah, you've got to have the staff. I don't care where you're at, 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, whatever. You've got to have the right personnel to be able to do it. Not just a traditional IT guy or IT person or engineer. IT engineer is going to be able to pull off the security side of things. So it's really the staffing.
Okay.
So one of the things that we were looking at is when we're trying to bridge into something new, we'd look for that right customer first, right? Somebody that was already on DECA friendly. And when we had that friendly, they had the right personality as right as the right business problem that we were trying to solve for many. So that's what I would probably encourage, looking for that right platform customer, and then maybe start with the resale, kind of toe dip it, maybe co-managing it with your vendor partner, and then you bridge off from there, you get lessons learned.